So my journey from being a Kundalini Yogi to a Shamanic Dragon Wizard as I am today, it's a story like no other. You're not going to want to miss it. I'm going to go over three main incredible stories that have shaped my life experience and my journey into becoming not only a wizard, not only a dragon wizard, but a Shamanic Dragon Wizard, as I believe our ancestors were all over Northern Europe, especially in this land of ancient Britain. I'm talking about the Celtic people, specifically the Druids, and of course the famed wizards of this land known as Taliesin and Merlin, or Mervin himself. So who am I then? Well, I'm T.J Keane, and I used to be known as a Kundalini Yogi, but now I am a Shamanic Dragon Wizard. So before we dive into this incredible journey that I've been on, I just want to say, if you do love this video, then please do consider dropping a like. It does do a tremendous amount to help this channel, and subscribe if you're interested in discovering more incredible, magical, wonderful content that you're not going to find this anywhere else. And if you do know of anyone or any groups that you think will resonate with what I'm putting out, then please do consider sharing this video. Thank you very much. All right, without further ado. So many of you will know, if you've been following me for a while, in 2003, I had a spiritual awakening, which led me to practicing and then becoming a Kundalini yoga teacher in 2005 in India. Okay, so we're not talking about that. That's the baseline. But how did I end up becoming a Shamanic Dragon Wizard? Well, I'm actually from Wales, the land of Merlin, and the dragon is the flag. So actually, the signs were there all along. And I've always kind of identified as being a wizard. I've never really been a muggle. But it wasn't really until I started this journey in 2003 that I really started to activate the Kundalini energy itself, which is the serpent, okay? And I've known for a long time this sleeping serpent is very much like a sleeping dragon. Like in The Hobbit, you have the sleeping dragon sitting inside the lonely mountain, Smaug guarding his treasure. I always felt intuitively that this was actually talking about the sleeping serpent of the Kundalini Shakti. But where's the evidence that this was practiced by the Druids? Well, let me tell you a story. Number one, when I was in Wales one time visiting my friend, he wanted to take me to a place where he said, Mark, this place is powerful. It's a PowerPoint, right? He feels there had been a landslide there and there's actually an underground spring. He felt the energy, and he said that if I went there, who knows what would happen, because his wife actually would see ghosts when she was there, and she doesn't even believe in ghosts. And he doesn't believe in anything. He's an atheist, but he couldn't deny the feeling. So I went there. I opened up my shamanic gaze in a place called the Wye Valley in Wales. It was sunrise, so it's a liminal time and it's a liminal place, right? In that time and place in betwixt and between that only the shaman knows, which is part of being a wizard, is to be a shaman, to stand between the worlds. So I opened up my shamanic gaze, my shamanic vision, and I repeated the mantra, see beyond the veil, see beyond the veil, see beyond the veil. And the next thing I knew, I was traveling in another world. I was in a world made of entirely of light. I was with the angels and I was floating and flying. And I thought I was on my way to see God. And it was the most beautiful experience of my life, full of love and bliss. And I completely left the world behind, didn't care, because I was being taken to God. And I was like, finally, I can't believe my luck. And I just felt so much excitement, reverence, gratitude, love, anticipation. But then I heard this other voice, which is slightly different, saying, listen to my voice, follow my voice. And I followed that voice. And suddenly I woke up and I had absolutely no idea where I was, because I'd come back to the physical world. But I didn't really remember myself. as Mark, and slowly my memory came back. I was like, oh yeah, I'm Mark, that's right. I must have gone for a walk and got lost. I didn't know that I was in the Wye Valley. But suddenly this head looked over me and I was so scared. I'd never seen anything so scary. And I didn't recognize him. It was actually my best friend, but it was the most ugly thing I'd ever seen in my life. I was like, oh, who are you? And he looked very shocked because I didn't remember my best friend. And then I quickly calibrated. Oh yeah, that's of course, he's my best friend. We went for a walk in the Wye Valley. And then I was like angry. I said, why did you stop me? I was having the most incredible experience of my life. He says, you were having an epileptic fit. I said, what do you mean I was having an epileptic fit? He says, you were moving around like this. I needed to stop you. I said, no, you didn't need to stop me. He says, I said, was I moving erratically or was I moving beautifully, kind of like a serpent? And he said, you were moving like an epileptic dolphin, like this. I'm trying to put on he's got more of a Welsh accent than I have. I've been living in England too long. So he confirmed that I was moving very much like the serpent. The Kundalini energy was flowing through me in such a way that it transported me into another place entirely. So that's when I realized that activating the Kundalini in this way, like in a sacred land in Wales at a liminal time, right? Sunrise, sunset, equinoxes, these sort of things are liminal times, can actually give you access into the other world, right? Which is what being a shamanic dragon wizard is all about. And we'll come on to that, how I've created this whole system of dragon yoga, a kind of shamanic Kundalini yoga, and the Celtic chakras, right? We're getting to that. Okay. So the second story that I want to share with you, I was with a shamaness, right? A female shaman friend of mine called Becky out in sacred France, right? And she said to me, Mark, I want to take you to this place. And if you don't find your dragon there, you won't find your dragon anywhere. And it was kind of a strange thing to say that because we weren't actually talking about dragons. I didn't say I was looking for a dragon, but she knew that is what my soul required. So we took me to this beautiful place, like something out of Lord of the Rings, like a huge ravine. I think it was basically a dried up waterfall. If you imagine that, all mossy and gnarly and trees overgrowing everywhere and these sort of cascades going down this beautiful forested ravine. There was kind of caverns and caves everywhere. Anyway, she went into this cave and started doing something, I guess, but I was quite angry because I thought, what? Hold on a minute. If I'm going to find my dragon anywhere, surely it's going to be in that amazing cave. Like, dragons live in caves. She's gone into the cave. How am I going to find my dragon now? Anyway, I calmed myself. I aligned myself with my higher self and I said, to the spirit of this place, my name is Mark Thomas Jack Keane. I am a wizard from Wales and I have come to find my dragon. And if you are present, please show me something physical that I will know when I see it that you are there, okay? And so I went for a little walk up through the ravine, and I found this beautiful ledge, and then I saw a beautiful little cave, but very, very small, like only about a little bit bigger than half of my body here, my upper torso and my head, let's say. And a little pool of water and a little stream that was kind of going down the cascade and making its little way into the pool. So it's like a beautiful dragon's lair, except it was very small. And I went, that's kind of perfect, but it's a bit small, isn't it? But my higher self said, the size doesn't matter. The dragons are in another world. I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, well, what do I do now? You know, because I'm still learning to be a wizard at this point, really, even though I said I was a wizard. The higher self says, Mark, you know what to do. I said, oh, yes. I closed my eyes and I used the power of visualization to imagine that I was going inside the cave. And I imagined the roar of the dragon, the flames flickering along the side. I followed the stream in, like I often do in my guided visualizations. But then suddenly, I went past this threshold where it was no longer a flight of my imagination. And I went into this cavern and met my dragon. And it felt very, very real. But still, my lower mind managed to come in and say, well, how do I know that it's real? And then I actually opened my eyes and I broke the spell and I came back into the physical world. And I was like, why have I done that? But I opened myself up into this shamanic vision naturally. And then something that wasn't there suddenly appeared. Up from the edge of the ravine, something started to move. And I looked, I said, it can't be. And I looked, and sure enough, yes, it was. It was a snake. And I hadn't seen a snake in years. And I didn't see a snake for years after that. But in that exact moment, a snake appeared. And I knew that that snake was the dragon letting me know that he is present, because the serpent and the dragon are synonymous. After all, what is a dragon but a winged serpent? Anyway, so I knew that association. He came opposite me. I kid you not. He opened his tongue like that, like snakes do. Then he went into the water, snaked his way across the water, and then went actually into the cave, and then disappeared somewhere into the darkness of the cave. And I couldn't find it. And I was amazed. I was astounded. That was the confirmation that the dragon had let me know from the other side, from the other world, that he was present and he was connected to that cave. So I found my dragon. I knew that dragons were real. I knew that they aren't here physically, but they are very close and can interact with snakes. Wow. So that was a big confirmation. The third and final story I want to share with you. I was with my brother, not my real brother, but my spiritual brother, Charlie Morley, who is an incredible British lucid dream teacher. And he was out on the Holy Isle, which is off the Isle of Arran, off the coast of Scotland, running a lucid dreaming retreat. And what we would all do is we would all go to bed, have about 5 hours sleep, wake up, go into the dream temple, and he would guide us down into a lucid dream. But this time I woke up and everybody in my dorm had gone into the temple already. And I was like, I can't believe they'd left me. And I was quite distraught. I was like, oh no, I'm going to miss the whole thing. And then I was like, hold on a minute. They wouldn't leave me. And with that, I suddenly realized I was outside of the temple looking in. I was like, oh my God, they're all in there. They're all inside the temple, lying down, having their journey. And then I realized, oh, well, why am I not in there? And then I saw myself from outside the temple, inside the temple. I was like, oh my God, there I am. And with that, I felt my physical body suddenly in the temple. And I was astounded. I was like, oh my God, I'm fully lucid. I'm conscious. I'm having a lucid dream. Turns out it was more of an out-of-body experience, which is very key. So with that, I shouted to the dreaming mind, show me something important, which is what you're meant to do if you haven't got a plan. And I was more interested in the dreaming mind telling me what it had to say to me, right, rather than me. And with that, this huge giant serpent appeared. And I jumped upon that serpent and I flew into the stars and I left the earth behind. And it was incredible, moving at such speed. But it was so fast that I got a bit nervous that I was leaving the earth behind. I was like, is this safe? But with that, I felt my physical body back in the temple, back on earth. And I knew that I could return to my physical body whenever I wanted. And with that, I flew with the serpent into another planet, got taken to another people, got taken into a building up a spiral staircase, and I was taken to see the leader of that people. At that time, I actually woke up because I think I got so excited. So those are the three incredible experiences that I realized that the Kundalini is all about accessing this inner dragon where you can actually travel to other worlds. And this is what our ancestors did. So when I took a look at the Prethi Anun, which is the Spoils of Anun, a Welsh poem written by the famous Celtic bard Taliesin, right, about King Arthur Pendragon. And I looked at that poem again. I realized he was talking about the chakras when he was talking about these otherworldly islands, these spinning castles that King Arthur went to. And I realized that he was riding the back of the dragon. And that's why his name is King Arthur Pendragon, which means the head of the dragon. And I realized that this is Taliesin pointing to the druidic heritage of shamanic dragon wizardry, where they were trained to activate their Kundalini, ride on the back of their dragon, travel into the other world and travel to the Celtic chakras known as the Kairu or the Cares. And that's how I created this shamanic form of Kundalini yoga that I call Dragon Yoga and the Celtic chakras. So it's an incredible story. So that's why now I call myself a Shamanic Dragon Wizard. I'm a shaman because I travel between the worlds, but I am a dragon wizard because I ride the back of the dragon to travel into other worlds. And I'm reclaiming the word wizard for the West. For too long, the word wizard has been relegated to fantasy. We reclaim the wizard. As India have their yogis, here in the West, ancient Britain, Northern Europe, we have the wizard. So thanks very much for indulging me in these stories. I hope to see you in my mystery school, Mark's Magical Mystery School, for all sorts of magical and wonderful things. Check out my course, Dragon Yoga and the Celtic Chakras. I have a course link, which I'll put in the description below. I hope you'll check it out. It's actually also part of a bundle with other shamanic courses, like my Egyptian Serpent Shamanism, where I travel into the stars in an Egyptian way. So that's very connected. So I put those in a little bundle. Otherwise, I'm open for working privately. So I'll put a link in the description below for that as well. So I do hope you enjoyed that. I hope you did like the video and you are subscribed. And please do share this to anyone that it resonates with. And I hope to see you in another video very, very soon. Dragon!